Oh, hey everyone! Welcome back to Movies in Bed. I'm Josh Nixon. I'm a yellow-blooded, good-for-nothing pussy! I don't want to do today's movie. The movie I have to review today makes me feel so bad about myself that I would feel even worse if there's another pointless sequel to Paranormal Activity. Okay, this is too much for me now. I need a few moments to myself. I'm going to go take a walk. Why, oh why, cruel world? Alright, I think I'm good now. Okay. So, best to not prolong this any longer. Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus. Oh, Asylum Studios, you are so not welcome in my world. Did you honestly think that we wanted a sequel to an abhorrent movie that hardly kept us as entertained as watching Betty White playing croquet? Actually, that really would be interesting. So, if you are not familiar to any of the Asylum's films, here's the rundown. Film Brain has already covered so far Transmorphers, Mega Piranha, and of course the pretense to today's film holocaust, which is Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. However, Film Brain pleaded to the public that he doesn't want to do any more Asylum films because of how total they really are. And now I'm here! I am so not enthralled by all of this. I'd rather watch Neon Cat for 24 hours straight with my eyes held wide open like a Clockwork Orange and hope that the looping music will give me a musical lobotomy. Trust me, the damage I would get from that would be less than the 7 that would await me in this flick. Here for your mindless, sickening pleasure and my endless torment, here's Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus. Seek counseling, you morons. This sure doesn't at all remind me of a similar use of landscape footage from the previous movie. So the movie is trying to let us know that we are in Congo. For a moment I could have made that silly mistake that it was Madagascar instead. The film dissolves to a cave and... Wait a minute, go back. Visit the Democratic Republic of Congo today! The cave is being mined by Africans while some frat boy Aussie is supervising with a gun.
It's only a model.
I'm sure the United Nations is behind this human rights neglected operation 101%. One of the miners finds a precious stone, but the supervisor says it's a shell instead.
No, the diamonds are here!
Not a diamond? It's a shell.
I'm going to guess something's going down in 2 minutes. Ah, screw you, movie. Without further ado, Crocosaurus comes into the picture after eating up the supervisor and supposedly squashing one of the miners. I'm sure the guy will walk it off from that poor crocodile and blood pool CGI rendering. The fool Simon Miner is seen running away and whoa! So quick to the cutaway from that story arc, are we, Asylum? I mean, will the Crocosaurus find the miner or what? It seems to have been building up to a fake out and that the miner will become Crocchow. Seriously, what happens to him? Wonderful. Now we are at sea aboard the USS Gibson. I can't believe our own Navy named a ship after that guy. On board the ship is a commander who apparently doesn't know about a ship's own technology, and...
Hey, go!
Oh my god! Urkel!
Honey, I'm home!
What in the world of the 90s is he doing here? I know the Asylum has a tendency to pick up washed out stars from the 80s and 90s, But there's no way that Jaleel White could have thought this is a good movie to be in. Maybe Carl Winslow tricked him for being a nuisance. So, Jaleel White plays Lieutenant Terry McCormick, and his job revolves around perfecting a device that uses sound to repel sharks. Taking bets now, this plot point plays out in the climax. And along with McCormick is Laura too, since I have no clue what her name is. She and the fat friend with no name from Kung Fu Hustle could be good friends.
Come see me after you talk to the captain. Oh. Here, meet me at 1300.
My stupid movie instincts say she's going to be joining the Navy Invisible soon. Terry reports to the captain to confirm some techno-lingo that there's something big nearby, and inserts screenplay line for an excuse to keep a freak of nature alive after a supposed battle to the death.
No carcass was found, no massive body is washed ashore. No one can conclusively say that the megalodon was killed.
Unfortunately, well, actually not surprisingly, no one on deck believes him because the government forgot to give these an IQ test before joining the armed forces. Here's a tip for who's a shark bait in this scenario. The majority. So, Terry takes his device and puts it in the water in an attempt to repel an inevitable attack from his sound's most marketable shark. Wow, it only took 10 minutes for our monster menaces to appear, which means about 80 more minutes left to deal with them.
Show some mercy.
I had to resort to that. Please forgive my condemned soul. Oh, and what a shocker! The girlfriend dies! Or at least that's what I think has happened since the production crew used Red 40 to stain her clothes over a part of her body that I don't think will kill her if she got hurt there. But we need Jaleel to look like he's been called in to do Big Fat Liar 2.
Yesterday, gotta go now. Sir!
Thanks for moving your arm, supposed dead girlfriend!
Yesterday, gotta go now.
Oh, what is with that? How do you get away with that? I guess Steven Dorff was right. She really would be okay.
Then the ever so size changing shark. No, seriously, compare this to this. Sinks Gibson and Terry escapes by diving suit. Hope you're ready for getting court-martialed for taking the ship's only scuba gear. The hundreds of people that died isn't that big of a deal. We come back to the first story arc, and we didn't need to be reminded where we are, movie. Take my word for it, we graduated with doctorates while you were stuck in first grade. Now introducing Nigel Putnam, played by former British boxing champion and now current actor Gary Stretch. He walks into a bar, and no, this is not a bar joke because the bar is in a tent, which makes it look stupid, after successfully hunting Pumbaa for tonight's dinner. That's good meat. Now I wonder how that meerkat kebab is doing. A representative of the owners of the mine we saw earlier approaches him and asks him to capture the crocodile for a huge sum of money. They go to the mine and find Photoshop footprints and a fake squash corpse. The most perfect prank to use on Halloween when giant crocs have been sighted in your area. The lady approaches some water, which means she's about as dead as Laura 2 earlier.
Nice crocodile. Nice crocodile.
Hey, are you tired of the same boring roller coaster? Well, you can now encounter more danger when you try out Ride a Deadly and Large Crocodile. This is for everyone! We are not responsible for loss of life. Please refer to Stupid B Movie Clause 37 for more details. Nigel gets eaten to only be spitted out because a croc swallowed all of his tranquilizers. Exactly how powerful were those tranquilizers, Nigel? Because I could use some. Well, it doesn't matter because then we return to Terry, who's now being interrogated for the Mega Shark incident of which he is a sole survivor. And I call on that. There are so many problems with our Navy in this movie. First, a commander who's close-minded and doesn't understand his ship's own equipment. The same equipment doesn't even look like it's top of the line and military grade, which makes it all the more reason a false representation of our real Navy. And now, a sound engineer survives an attack by hiding inside a sinking ship with diving gear, while the guys outside with their life jackets could have easily ride out the ship sinking to live another day? This is the worst armed forces I have ever seen in film! Okay, just take it easy, man. You're better than this film. Don't give in. Sorry about that. The interrogation is interrupted by Special Agent Hutchinson, who is played by Sarah Living, and no, she isn't a former powerhouse from 1989. She has been in other low-budget monster B movies for the past decade, and one of which actually makes the movie I'm reviewing now look like a freaking masterpiece, but that's too complimenting. She recruits Jaleel into a special group of elites that is tracking down the shark after he confesses his beliefs that it's his fault his ship was attacked because of his device.
Did I do that?
And now he wants to help hunt down Mega Shark to seek vengeance for his dead girlfriend. Oh, I'm sorry. I just felt like reading this all of a sudden. Wonderful literature when compared to this of a movie. Away to yet another location, the film is now on a cargo ship that Nigel commissioned to transport the crocodile, and it appears to have laid eggs as well. I wish Asylum would stop reminding me of other movies I could be watching now aside from this one. The shark attacks a ship, and the captain lets the now awake crocodile go, which was restrained by a giant tarp and an easily breakable string of rope. Okay, this is like trying to restrain Michael Clark Duncan with poodles. Lord, I do apologize. Please put his soul to rest and be with the starving pygmies in New Guinea. Amen. Going back to McCormick, he is introduced to his new commander who is waiting to kill off the shark so he can smoke what he claims is the most expensive cigar in the world. And I just realized where most of the film budget went to. And topsy-turvy again, we come back to Nigel who survived the boat sinking. What do you do after you wash up on shore since you fell overboard from a sinking cargo ship that was transporting Failzilla and was attacked by Bruce's uncle? You go to a bar, of course. And not to mention it's the same bar from Africa, but switched around and decorated differently. Congratulations to you, movie, for saving money and making us feel like you're pandering to an audience of beds. Isn't that right, Ben?
I feel as bad as the time your parents did it on me.
Shh. It's okay, Ben. The memories will fade away soon. Hutchinson comes for Nigel and takes him with her to her superiors. Oh yes, I, Gary Stretch, am going to begin some tonight. The military learns about the Crocosaurus from him, and how is it they weren't aware the creature that's as big as their own ship is beyond me, but I'm sure the answer could be found with the dead idiots of the USS Gibson earlier. Also, for some reason, Nigel and Terry seem to be hitting off with each other right away.
His fiancée is the best piece of ass that's ever walked in an African jungle.
He's a con man. He talks tribesmen in the jungle into believing there's a boogeyman.
Truly, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I'm kidding. This rivalry has no means to justify it, so in the end, it's not good writing. So, newly forced together pals Terry and Nigel head out with their chaperone, Hutchinson. Oh, and I could give you one guess of what is going to happen when these three are together in a confined space. And go! Time's up! If you guessed D, don't worry, you don't have ESP. The movie is just dumb.
Ha! There's more brother in me than you.
Really?
Really?
Well, if you're saying I didn't experience robbing and killing villagers and denying their dignity and their pride, shut it, guys.
Yes, Mom. They arrive at a coastline where the croc laid eggs, and they intend to capture one for why are they needing an egg again?
Science!
While they're investigating, Nigel and Hutchinson go into an underground cave, then they go back up. Perfect use of the location, I see. Terry and Nigel confirm that the eggs are probably hatching, and then this happens.
Hey, guys! Is that a fin?
Hey viewers, is that bad acting? So, because their egg hunt is interrupted by the titular monster, Hutchinson orders for a missile strike on the coastline to take out the eggs and the shark. Oh, I thought I was forgetting something, and what was the croc doing inside a cliff, and how did it get there? Alright, I need to stop asking myself questions that are not going to get answers. It's like trying to ask Jaleel about his current career. The military destroys the eggs, but of course they had to flub it up somewhere, and the monsters got away. The armed forces are the greatest superpower in the whole world, ladies and gentlemen. So they trace the crocodile to Florida, and I'm trying to imagine the headlines now. In other news, aside from the many face-eating, bath-salt-consuming zombie apocalypse story that is now ancient history, our great state is being attacked by a large college mascot, and Florida's going down! Ah! Well, you are not going to believe what these people do to chase Crocosaurus out.
An arc flash.
Don't understand what that means? Well, here's what they do to make it happen. First, the military gets in touch with the nuclear power plant, and they don't send in actual personnel to collaborate with them directly. No. The military calls them on a public telephone line telling them what they want them to do. And the guy they called at the plane seems to believe them right away without question that they're the armed forces, and the fact that they want him to get the plane to perform a highly dangerous act of electrical energy that could harm any nearby civilians doesn't seem to faze him at all. Oh my God! That could have easily been a prank caller on the line, and he's so willingly to convince his co-workers to do this? Does everyone in this movie have the same intelligence as dandelions? This movie? Aww. In short, the arc flash worked and the croc retreats.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
The crew figures out that the shark is actually going after the crocodile's 50 XL eggs. And they seem to be figuring this out after it attacked a submarine containing an egg. Didn't the shark swallow a bunch of them back at the coast earlier? You guys didn't realize that then? No? Anyone with an answer? Well then, that makes you dumb. And to further prove this, they then plan to ensnare the two creatures inside the Panama Canal by luring them in with the croc's eggs from the cargo ship Nigel used to transport the crocodile.
Exciting at first, and it ends in disaster.
And the lure works since because... well, let Hutchinson explain it.
Is that a fin?
Yeah, that pretty much does it. Great battle special effects, by the way, Asylum. I feel as moved as watching myself in my very first online video.
If you take the title Natshukan and roughly translate it into English, it means, what do we...
What the f*** was I doped on back then?
Highlights every Friday.
Oh, and here's my main highlights of this scene.
Tango Bravo 1 is sending to 140. Oh my God, the USS Cormorant is down.
The shark and crocodile get locked inside the canal, and this gives reason for some jet fighters to blow up some nearby buildings and ships. Okay, even Michael Bay wouldn't go out of his way to make these unnecessary explosions happen. The two fight it out in a very bizarre and painful version of Ring Around the Rosie, but they break loose from the canal, causing, destruction and, Okay, what I could make of his joke for this is not going to work out, so let's fast forward ahead a few minutes. The monsters take their fight onto the road, or tide for that matter, as I am going to admit that Asylum did seem to do a bit better with this film than the predecessor in terms of production. The last film they were going all out and repeatedly using the same footage, and the writing was all wrong, most particularly the shark being able to jump so high it was able to bring down a plane. In this sequel, however, there has been fewer less instances of repeat shots, and they do seem to be trying to make the monsters believable since they weren't trying to bring down American Airlines, but once you're a dumb movie, you're going to degrade to something worse at some point. While in pursuit, our heroes learn that the crocodile has been laying hundreds of eggs at each location it encountered the shark. Terry explains that the croc probably has a built-in feature that can give it the ability to reproduce so quickly when its eggs are in danger. It sounds really silly at first, but after thinking about it, that is actually funny. Try to imagine a crocodile having to fight a giant shark its same size while also laying eggs at the same time.
Roar! 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 Roar!
The military figures out the shark and crocodile are heading to Hawaii where some more eggs are probably at, and when exactly did the croc manage to get over there, lay the eggs, and return to the Atlantic Ocean? Thanks for yet another unanswered question, movie. So they send a nuclear submarine to search and destroy, but...
That's
accidental, Jem. Trust me, it is accidental. Terry, Nigel, and Hutchinson are sent out yet again to lure the shark and crocodiles away from Hawaii. What is their plan? I gave up trying to find answers when the shark swallowed my common sense. The helicopter the trio are flying in gets hit by a crocodile, and hello game footage from any decent army video game you could name.
Go get them, Jesus. We're gonna help you! We're gonna help you, baby, I promise. We gotta help her. Baby, I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna leave my fiance. I'm not gonna do that.
Whoa, even I wouldn't go that croc shit inside. So, because one of them has flown over the cuckoo nest, Terry and Nigel have set aside their differences and become best of friends. And they leave Hutchinson to die. Quick, let's ditch the bitch.
Whatever you say, friend.
Boring, this is so boring, this is so boring, get to the show.
Hey, wait a minute, that's inconsistent with the plot.
Same reason you can't shoot most crocs. Skin tough as concrete.
So not only did my common sense go, but as well as my logic, knowledge, wisdom, soul, and dignity! Okay, let's get this stupefying numbing of a movie over with. Terry uses his sound device to lure the creatures to an underwater volcano. Saw the use of his device for the climax coming. His sounds cause the volcano to erupt. Don't bother asking why. Every unnatural specimen within a wide radius is fried to a charcoal black crisp. Somehow fish stick sales went up at the same time. And Terry and Nigel are rescued by Hutchinson, who is still alive. Unfortunately for us. And how is it she could repair the damaged helicopter so quickly and with no help at all? Let me add that to page 238 of the 28th volume of questions that this movie brings up but doesn't take the time to answer. But that's not important because we get to the most necessary resolution of this movie. The commander gets his smoked at high-priced joint. Damn it, it's just an oversized Marlboro. There went my security deposit.
Buckle up, boys. We're going home.
What a crowd.
Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus! It's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid, it's stupid! F*** movie, you raped me for dead in my and then you let me die for a ditch! You guzzling you tripping and then pile of you movie Holy this movie is about as idiotic as the first one. How is it that the asylum is still in business surprises me a lot, but maybe they are because they actually managed to get an audience to follow their every word. Certain people may like them because their movies are really cheesy, illogical, and just plain wrong in every sense. But for me, if I want to just sit back and enjoy a bad movie for the sake of it, I would at least like it if the movie could be a bit intelligent instead of trying to bend the laws of reality so they could keep producing this crap. And it doesn't help that there's a third movie in the works now because people petitioned the studio to make another sequel. Really? There's people begging the asylum to keep Mega Shark alive? And how the hell is it that this thing could keep coming back? It has now died twice, and yet it seems to be able to come back to life whenever its trademark owners want it to. The first movie, the shark went down with the octopus, and this time it was burned to death in a volcano. I suppose I could pardon the studio for bringing the shark back to life after the first movie since it kind of does make sense, but there is no way it is going to heal right away from serious third-degree burns and loss of life for a second time. Well, let's just be quick with this. Here's my grading for this film. For story, it is very bad. There were so many questions left unanswered, plot holes that could blow this movie wide open like shooting fish in a barrel, and a lot of things didn't make sense to me. I'll give it credit for not being as ridiculous as a previous film, but it is still silly. I give the story a D. The characters in this film are not really good at all either. If there's anyone that does seem to be more three-dimensional than anyone else, that's Terry McCormick, because he somewhat did have a story arc going with hunting the shark because he blames himself for the death of his significant other, and Jaleel White is interesting to watch. But that didn't save this film at all. The rest are just as flat as the story. There's hardly any to non-character development at all. The cast isn't putting a lot of effort into this, and there were unnecessary characters that didn't further the plot at all. I give characters an F. For the film's overall look, the special effects are horrendous. Sure, the asylum seems to be putting more elbow grease into the CGI monster fights this time, and taking down the use of repeated footage quite a lot, but yeah, it is just as bad still. There were a few moments the effects didn't seem to be integrated into the film well, and also some visual inconsistencies here and there. And the repeated use of the same sets for supposed different locations sort of insults my intelligence, so that doesn't work out at all for the movie. For overall look, it's a D. And last but definitely not important here, my emotional response. I felt nothing for the characters in this movie because there's nothing for me to connect to them. I wasn't able to really push my suspension of disbelief away from this one because I'm very stubborn as an and there's hardly anything entertaining about this. With a few exceptions of some funny accidental moments, of course. But in the end, I feel like this movie doesn't contribute anything at all for me, so it's pretty much dead while watching it. For emotional response, I give it an F. And this leads to my bad grade for Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus to be a D-. Alright, I am now done with this for good. No more silent films for me. Leave it to the next innocent poor to take on this pile of And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going for another walk.